Bitcoin is not crypto. That's what a lot of Bitcoin maximalists say, right? They say Bitcoin is distinct, it's something else, and crypto is all the rest. We are in our own universe, and Ethereum and XRP and all of those other cryptocurrencies, they are on their own, right? We are better than the rest. And to a degree, actually, I tend to agree. This is the Bitcoin strategy channel, but that doesn't mean that I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. I also trade altcoins. I trade very risky altcoins. I trade meme coins, etc. But still, the vast majority of my crypto investment is in Bitcoin. And there are several reasons for this. Bitcoin is to a degree distinct. But besides just looking at the fundamental properties of Bitcoin, right, which are of course very distinct, right, it is very highly decentralized and you don't have a founding team that takes on their own share. You don't have any of these conflicts of interest. Besides all of that, I think the main thing that differentiates Bitcoin from all the other altcoins is why it's bought, and it's who is buying it. When we look at the main purchasers of Bitcoin and we look at their buying and selling behavior, and we see that the majority of Bitcoin, more than 50% of Bitcoin, have not moved in the last 5 years. So the majority of Bitcoin holders don't buy Bitcoin in order to speculate on the massive ups and downs. They don't speculate necessarily on the volatility. The vast majority of Bitcoin holders use it as a savings vehicle. They use it to allocate capital. They use it as a diversifier to the rest of all the other assets. They use it because it tends to appreciate faster than all of those other assets. So it's not necessarily a matter of making money fast. It's a matter of protecting your wealth in mix with all of those other asset classes. When you look at altcoins, buying and selling altcoins is very, very different, right? The vast majority of altcoins tend to do worse than Bitcoin most of the time. In other words, only a slight small percentage of altcoins tend to outperform Bitcoin. And when they do outperform, they also tend to only do this during short periods of time. So most of the time, it makes sense to simply just hold Bitcoin. And that's why so many people simply just continue holding it. They ride out those waves. They dollar cost average into Bitcoin. They protect their purchasing power by buying Bitcoin versus just holding fiat. So by buying Bitcoin, you protect yourself against fiat inflation. You protect yourself against the ups and downs of the stock market. You also protect yourself against a potential property crash, because Bitcoin is very lowly correlated to all of those things. And Bitcoin has a finite supply. And that's why people allocate towards Bitcoin. It's simply just another holding in a broad basket of things. Altcoins are used for speculation. Altcoins are used to ride the current momentum waves. Altcoins are used to make a potential 10x on the investment, right? Altcoins are traded by potentially less sophisticated, at least less wealthy people that really want to get massive returns and that have a lot of time on their hands to learn about the ups and downs, to learn about on-chain technology, to learn about all the statistics. You don't need that many statistics to just allocate towards Bitcoin, right? You can simply just buy and hold if you're okay with some ups and downs, right? If you simply just have a very balanced portfolio.
This needs to go to 1 million, or March buyers now will make millions. This is how you get the clicks on YouTube, but this is not how you beat the market. To beat the market in crypto, you need to be better informed than the rest. You need to be better skilled than the rest. You need to do better blockchain analytics. You need to track other people's wallets and know what is the smart money doing. It's the boring educational content that forms skill that doesn't perform so well on YouTube though. That's why I created the premium membership. Feel free to check it out. We are tracking influencer wallets to find out what they are buying before promoting this on YouTube. We've got a lot of tutorials to help with on-chain analytics, to help with wallet discovery. And of course, there are also plenty of chats where we help each other, and also one-on-one conversations with me. So I'm messaging every premium member one-on-one directly. Once you're joining, you will get a message from me and you have the opportunity to directly pick my brain. Feel free to check it out. thebitcointrader.com, link is down below.
So the kind of person that gets into BTC versus all the rest is very different, especially now that BTC gets more accessible by traditional means, right? By brokerage accounts for the ETFs. The people that buy Bitcoin now don't necessarily have the interest to ride the waves, right? To time the market perfectly. They simply just want to allocate. They simply just want to protect themselves against the ever-expanding money supply, which, by the way, is at around 7% per annum. When you look at the last decades, you look at the US M2 money supply, how much did that grow over time? It's roughly 7% per annum. So that's actually how much we lose in terms of purchasing power versus other assets, versus the house, versus education, etc., by just being in fiat. So we have to be out of fiat as much as possible, and allocating to various different asset classes, including Bitcoin, makes a lot of sense for those people. And so what are the main things to buy? It's obviously stocks. It's potentially long-term government bonds if you want to speculate on a falling interest rate. It's property, it's gold, and now it's also Bitcoin. When you've got all of those asset classes, your portfolio value is not going to drop by 50-60%. If you're nicely diversified, you should have relatively low volatility overall, and you should still beat the monetary expansion. You should still not be exposed to this hidden tax, right, of the money printing. Now, why is it that Bitcoin supply doesn't move that much, but the altcoin supplies move so much? Why are the altcoins been traded that actively and Bitcoin isn't? Which, by the way, I believe is the right approach, right? It doesn't make sense to just buy and hold altcoins, which a lot of small retail investors actually do, right? They just allocate towards various altcoins and then see how their portfolio goes down. It makes sense to trade altcoins actively, and there is way more trading volume in altcoins, and it all makes sense because altcoin competition goes up over time, right? There's new tokens launched all the time. There's new projects being launched all the time. And even if you've got one narrative, be this, say, AI and crypto and gaming in South America, there's probably going to be a clone of that project if that project is successful at some point in time again. So competition is rising, token inflation is rising as well because the team wants to get some allocation as well. So overall, tokenomics are pretty poor for most altcoins. Very often you've got an inflating supply of 10-20% per annum. You've got new projects coming out, and attention tends to move from coin to coin over time. And so that's why you can't just hold an altcoin over the long term. If you look at the top 100 altcoins 5 years ago, you will not recognize most of the names, simply because now it's other altcoins that took their place. So yes, Bitcoin is a thing by itself. You can simply just allocate, you can set and forget. That's something you cannot do for the rest of crypto. The rest of crypto has to be traded actively. You have to be better than the average. It's a player versus player game for the rest of crypto. For Bitcoin, you don't need to get involved in all of this. So yes, Bitcoin is not crypto. Bitcoin is a very different beast. Bitcoin has established itself, and the on-chain numbers don't lie. More than half of Bitcoin has moved for 5 years. And I do believe that that number is likely going to go up over time as more and more of those long-term investors continue to dollar cost average in. If you haven't yet joined our Telegram, feel free to do so. The link is down below. Looking very much forward to chatting with you. A like would be very much appreciated as well. And in case you haven't yet subscribed, there's also a subscribe button. Feel free to click it. See you next time. Cheers.